Hey guys, I just wanted to tell you a little story that I had. It was, so on one hand, it was comical. On the other hand, professionally speaking, like it's something that I really need to get better at, right? And I messed this one particular thing up, and I called a gentleman that I was interviewing by the wrong name during the intro several times, and then he subsequently corrected me after that. So it was pretty embarrassing for me to kind of start the interview that way. And I actually didn't even realize that I was calling him Dave, even though his name is Steve. Steve's a great guy. He's a certified financial planner out of Round Rock, Texas. Also, he's an Air Force stealth bomber pilot. So you can imagine sort of the pressure that I'm feeling, right? Like, here's this guy, you know, he's well educated. He's flown stealth bombers for, I don't know, the greater part of 20 years. And here I am, this guy who's trying to learn how to podcast and interview people and is a struggling business owner myself. And here this guy is, he's very established. I mean, he was a commander, you know, he got out as a lieutenant colonel. And so I'm sort of, I guess I went into it maybe even with that in my head, like, wow, this guy, like I'm looking up to this guy, like, and he deserves all that respect, right? But I kind of maybe psyched myself out a little bit. So as I went into the intro, I noticeably do a lot of ahs and ums, and I'm aware of that, so I'm trying to work on that. But as I'm trying to read through his stuff, and I had prepared a bunch of notes to try to make this easier, because he has a business, he has a podcast, he has another sort of podcast that he has subscribers to. It's called The Daily Briefing, and it's for his financial subscribers, and they do that every morning, and he posts it to YouTube, right? So I'm trying to sort of outline all these things and sort of give a brief synopsis of what they are, and you know, like a very, very basic description. And I'm struggling to get through it. And in that process, I call him Dave, I think 2 or 3 times. And then eventually I turn it back over to him to kind of take the reins, and he graciously introduces himself and then corrects me, and he's like, hey, by the way, it's Steve, you know. And at the time, like I said, I didn't really know I was calling him Dave. I thought I was calling him Steven, and he just wanted to be called Steve. So if you watch the podcast, like, or at least that particular beginning part, like, I don't even skip a beat, because I'm just like, oh, okay, Steve, cool, roger that. But as I'm sitting here editing it, I'm looking back like, oh my God, I'm calling this guy Dave. Like, what a moron. So anyways, the point of the story is, if you're out there looking to make content, if you're out there looking to start a business, or if you're just generally trying to put yourself out there more, whether it's public speaking or speaking up at work or whatever it is, you're gonna jack it up. And that's okay. Like, I'm sure the guy was like, wow, what's this guy doing? You know, like anybody would have. And I feel like a total moron having done that. But at the same time, it was a good experience for me to go through. Now I know it's like, all right, well, I've got to detail the notes, and maybe I just do a readout. You know, I'm like subconscious about trying to read something in front of a camera and constantly being engaged eye to eye with the camera. You know, so I'm going to experiment and try a few different options to try to see if I can nail down that intro so it's more professional, it's seamless, and the information is accurate. But don't be scared to make mistakes. You know, I rolled with it. I felt outmatched on almost every level, right? And it's not like a competition, but you want to bring something to the table, right? Even if you're not the expert, right? I'm talking to an expert in the field, but I still want to have some credibility, right? And I want to sort of build that. But that was a tough situation for me to be in. So, you know, definitely take that and take what you can from it. Put yourself out there. Don't be scared to mess up. It's okay. I was in Corporal's course in 2015, I believe, 15 or 14. And we were given an assignment to basically do like a 3-minute public speaking, you know, assignment. So I had chosen the effects of, or how to properly hydrate, right? Like everything in the Marine Corps was, you know, hydrate or die. And, you know, there's all these crazy sayings about hydration, because it's true, right? Like you're in a lot of austere conditions, you're in the field, you know, it's really hot or it's really cold, whatever it is, you need to be drinking water, right? So it seems like a really easy topic to talk about. And of course it is. Like if you're talking with your buddy, it's not a big deal, right? I get up in front of, I don't know, maybe 25 people, and I'm only supposed to carry this out for like 3 minutes. Guys, when I tell you I got maybe 25 seconds and like I was speaking like this, I was and I was just going. And I probably didn't even make any sense. I actually met my wife at Corporal's course, so I was sort of like in the beginning process of like, I guess, dating her. And she was like, I can't believe how terrible that was. And I was like, yeah, like I'm not a public speaker, and I've always avoided it. Or I drop an excessive amount of cuss words, right? Which is something that I haven't really done on the podcast because I'm really trying to, get rid of that because it's just not professional, right? It has its place, but it's definitely not on the podcast that I'm trying to put out to you guys. So yeah, I totally jacked up this speech. I had to redo the speech again. So I think the second time I got it to like a minute 20 or 30. They gave me a pass because they're like, man, you're pretty much next to hopeless. So needless to say, this is also a huge experience for me. I know I'm trying to kind of give you some buy-in as to why it's good for you, but I'm also trying to voice this out for myself, which hopefully inspires you to put yourself out there more, right? But this whole process of podcasting, being in front of a camera, this is new, and this is uncomfortable. But it's really, really good because I feel that I'm getting better. As incremental as it may seem, it's just the only way it's going to happen. And the same thing for you guys. If it's speaking up at a work meeting or an event with other people within your industry, and you have an idea but you're scared, man, just get up there and do it. Like, who cares? You know what? Let's say you mess it up this time. In 6 months, there's another conference or there's another meeting, whatever, and you just start slowly building that confidence. Well, you never know what that'll yield in the future, right? Like maybe you develop enough confidence and enough of a voice to speak up and truly execute that communication, and now you're looked at like, holy cow, that's a really great point, right? It might have taken a year, it might have taken 3 years or 5 years, but the bottom line is that you're growing. You're getting uncomfortable and you're adapting. There's just no knowing how that will play out for your future success. So take the risk. Thanks for listening. I appreciate it. We're trying to make a better product every time. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Click that subscribe button below. Follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, .mil_gear. Really simple.